Hear ye, and welcome to the Royal Geek Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Rollison, also known as T-Roll. And tonight, I am joined by just one really good friend of mine, Justin Sandoval, a.k.a. Sandy. Justin, how you feeling, man?
You know, I'm feeling great, man.
Are you really?
Better than the two of you, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're missing Shamato tonight.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Beanie, my dog is back with the toys. So
we love it.
If you guys hear any toys, that's what it is. But anyways, Amato is missing the show tonight. Amato, our thoughts are with you, man. He unfortunately had a car accident, literally on the way to my house.
Yeah,
for this podcast.
So it's your fault, is what you're saying.
Yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, bro. Ironically, my family suffered a totaled car today as well. So literally 2 totaled cars on the Royal Geek Podcast in one day.
Yeah.
In one day.
Some bad luck right now.
You better be careful
I'm going to drive home. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
Seriously, dude.
You're right.
I'm not kidding, man. It's these freaking deer out here. Anyways, yep. So if all of our beloved listeners, if you would like to make a donation of an automotive vehicle to either me or Shamato to the Royal Geek Podcast, and me and Shamato can share it, just let us know.
Yeah, hit us up. DM.
we're struggling out here. All right. Little bit of business. Big shout out to all of our listeners, everybody who's tuning in. I want to thank you for listening to the pod. And we want to remind you to please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Also, follow us on social media at Royal Geek Pod. Leave a comment, leave a review, and also share this podcast with any friends you have. If you have been tuning in for our Ahsoka reviews, we want to ask you to please, just once, share this podcast with another Star Wars friend of yours. That is the best way you can help us out. So, anyways, with all that in mind, here's your spoiler warning for episode number 8 of the Ahsoka series, which was titled The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord.
Yeah.
Not bad, huh?
I know. That's pretty good.
All right, Sandy, how'd you feel, man?
Season finale.
Season finale. Did I say that? I didn't
No,
say that.
you
Yeah,
didn't.
sorry. Season finale.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Again, a little out of it tonight.
yeah. All right. So I will tell you. I believe that
You hated it.
No. I didn't hate it. I do feel like though, Ahsoka, it did land the ship. It was a solid episode. It just left me wanting more, and I guess my selfish nature, I just really wanted more resolution, more something. But if you take a step back and you look at it from like an overhead view, it told a great story. The story of Ahsoka from episode 1 to 8 is arguably like 1A, 1B in Star Wars content as far as quality goes. Like it's up there. Like this episode kind of ended the way Empire Strike. Like you really feel like the bad guys won at the end of Empire.
Yeah.
And in this one, like you really feel like Thrawn won, and you don't know where they're going to go from here. So
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure when he had his monologue, and it wasn't really a monologue. It wasn't that long, but when he had his speech, and he said, "Today I won," or "I have victory today," or something like that. I was legit like, I don't think he's getting away. There's no way you're gonna let him get away, and then he got away.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about this last week, and I was like, what if the cliffhanger is Thrawn escapes and leaves them there? Which, dude, I was like 80% right.
Yeah.
The only thing I was wrong about was Ezra.
Yeah, Ezra got
Right,
away.
Ezra got on that ship, and and Thrawn has no idea. I am led to believe that Thrawn has no idea.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think he successfully escaped without Thrawn knowing. So, yeah, I mean, I know I just jumped to the end right there, but
That's fine.
But it's like, yeah, I mean, I'm really intrigued that they finished a series with that significant of a conclusion.
Yeah.
You know, because how in the world are they just? I mean, it took so much to get to that galaxy to find Thrawn.
Yeah.
How are they going to get back?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Like, seriously.
Because the Purgle are gone as far as we know. But maybe their migration will return. But
yeah,
to rely on the Purgles again would be a little bit too convenient, I feel like, for the story.
Right.
Now, another thing I can see happening is just Ezra because he was on Thrawn's ship, he has like inside intel on how to make the 3 hyperdrive ring, and Hera just goes and gets them. But
then the coordinates.
right, that's another thing. Like
The map was destroyed.
unless Ezra like stole information before he
Stole information off the
left.
ship,
But,
yeah.
But yeah, like that's I don't know. That's a lot. I'm going into what's about to happen, but I mean, I feel like a lot of things happen.
Maybe they can start the season,
Yeah.
season 2 with that.
Yeah, I think a lot of things happen that didn't get resolved, but I think it's in a good way because it kind of makes you're speculating, like you're having conversation now on what could be. And like Filoni didn't just like leave you there like Marvel does sometimes, and makes you wonder if the questions are even going to get answered at all. But I think he gave you an idea what to come. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to where the direction they go. So.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think the speculation will be fun, but I guess just for the sake of the discussion of the episode, I'm trying to remember how it began. Oh yeah, I think they sent some TIE fighters out to find Ahsoka and Ezra and all them.
Yeah.
And the TIE fighters did some damage to their ship.
Yeah. They almost crushed the Noti people.
Yeah, that's right. Sabine pulled a clever maneuver, which the physics behind it seem questionable.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything that has to do with that ship that the Ahsoka drives, like,
She's
I'm
like,
just,
all I need is one shot. And I'm like, yeah, it's really convenient that if they were any more apart, those TIE fighters, you'd miss completely. If they were any closer, you would die yourself.
Yeah. It's okay.
The margins were
You just got to accept it for what it is.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
But anyways, she does that. She goes like half kamikaze, and then they leave once again Hu Yang to fix the ship.
Yeah. I will say before that actually happens, we see Ezra building his lightsaber, which I think is really awesome.
Scene.
I don't think we've actually seen the lightsaber construction in
live action
movie format. Yeah. Which it was really cool to see.
I think you're right.
I do remember them saying that there was a deleted scene, I think in episode 6, Return of the Jedi, that they just didn't put into the movie of Luke building his lightsaber. But I'm glad that we got to see some action of it.
Yeah,
and especially with Hu Yang telling the story about Kanan.
And that one piece. Yeah, that like rimmed piece that he had.
Yes. So that was pretty cool to see.
That was cool. It felt like emotional. And you see Sabine's like listening to it, and she doesn't have that same kind of connection with her master that Ezra had with
She
Kanan.
kind of storms out a little bit.
Yeah, but then when they get outside, they were okay. I mean, yeah, that was actually that was the scene where Ahsoka, she doesn't confront Sabine, but
She's just like, what you did paid off, and she's like, oh, you knew, and they kind of just had that conversation.
Yeah, she's like, are you mad? And she's like, I've made rash decisions before.
There you go. Yeah.
So,
she'll let her slide this
the classic like Ahsoka crossing her arms across her chest, acting all wise like a master Jedi or Jedi master.
Yeah.
Master Jedi. And then that's when they got attacked.
Yes.
And then Sabine pulls her stunt. They get on some howlers.
Yep.
And it's like, oh yeah, they made it to
the temple, right? Like whatever.
Like we literally have a scene of Thrawn. He's like, show me where they're at, and the map. It looks like the map
far away
far away, and he's like, we should prepare, just in case or whatever, And like the next scene, they're there. I'm like, all right, that was. Here's my thing. There was no scenes of Balin. I mean, until the very end, you get.
Which we'll get there. There's some stuff there that you don't have no idea.
Which fine. So save that for now. But it's like we didn't get anything. Mm-hmm. We didn't get like a Shin Balin confrontation, and I don't think we ever will now, unless they recast.
They will recast. Yeah.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Okay. But it's like it was lacking something there because I think if you had one scene that wasn't Thrawn or Ezra and Ahsoka and Sabine, I think if you had one scene to kind of buffer.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But there wasn't. So it's like, okay, we made it to the temple or the fortress or whatever,
Yeah.
So, and then they rain fire.
Yeah.
They get through somehow. miraculously.
Yeah, the Howlers are dodging the.
Yeah, the Howlers
Yeah.
are dodging all these strikes. They get inside the temple. They mow down some stormtroopers, and then go ahead.
Yeah, this is where it gets pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty
and
pretty sweet
then
actually.
there's a what was that? What was that?
So
Some witch zombie.
yeah,
stuff.
the witches, they resurrect the night troopers, and they don't call them death troopers, but they're like from the Star Wars Legends and stuff. Like Thrawn actually has control of death troopers, so
It's crazy.
But anyway, these zombie stormtroopers, they just keep getting back up, which, I mean, they may suck at their aim, but
they're resilient.
They're very resilient. So that was cool to see. And then we get, you see, I guess the first part of this, the first scene of the episode is your favorite person.
Oh, yeah,
Morgan
Morgan.
Elsbeth getting her
She gets
powers.
Powers.
Becoming a witch and gets a cool sword.
We'll admit that was a cool sword.
Yeah, but then then Thrawn's like, they're getting through the stormtroopers, the night troopers.
Yeah.
You need to do this, and she's like, okay, well, I guess I'll do this. She wasn't too enthused.
She wasn't.
He said for the Empire, and
she's
then
like,
she
nods.
He walks away.
She nods,
Yeah.
but then she's like, for Dathomir
Yeah.
or whatever it's
Yeah.
called, their planet.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, so it's like you could see a little hints of, I don't want to say resentment, but distrust
yeah,
from all the witches, including Morgan, towards Thrawn. Like that, like Thrawn's using them, and it feels like they feel like they're using him.
yeah. Well, they're just trying to get back to Dathomir,
Right.
But he's using them to escape in general.
They're
so
both.
It's
Everyone's trying to escape,
yeah,
really.
yeah.
I mean, in some regard, it's like great partnership
Yeah, it works.
until something's gonna go wrong
Yeah.
there. I think, but
Yeah, but she stays behind and she fights. And how did you feel about her holding her own?
well, but here's the thing:
Yeah.
in the and I think was it Mandalorian 1 or 2?
She did fight pretty good.
Yeah, I
in
mean, she
2.
had a cool scene fighting Ahsoka.
Yeah.
right. So,
Didn't
that's
bother
the
you as
thing.
much as
Here's the thing: she was such a she was just such a nothing character of this whole series. You know what could have helped if episodes 1, 2, or 3, she like beat up Shin or someone, showed that she's
she
more than
actually could do
just
something.
right.
Yeah.
Right, because if you're gonna have like such a bland personality, you better at least be a good warrior,
Yeah.
which she was. She was a good warrior, and we were reminded of that. But yeah, I mean, the sword was cool.
Yeah, the sword was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I did like how Sabine, Ahsoka, and Ezra, like they really like. I think sometimes in Star Wars, something I'm critical of is anytime there's Jedi and they have lightsabers,
Yeah.
and you're fighting stormtroopers, it's just like, come on, bro, this is just gonna be easy. Which it was at first,
Yeah, but then they kept
very
getting up.
easy. But then it seemed like they were really struggling.
Yeah.
And they had to actually work together, close those blast doors repeatedly, run. Like, it felt like they were actually struggling.
Yeah,
So,
and which, I mean, obviously made for good entertainment to watch them have to overcome those odds. But I will say this is probably the one downside of one of the downsides of Disney owning the Star Wars property is that this Night Trooper lightsaber battle like could have been a lot cooler with some decapitations. Like the lightsaber's supposed to cut through, but they're just doing like these little tiny
Slashes.
scrapes and slashes
that's
on their
true.
armor.
Yeah, I want to see some bodies.
Yeah,
cut in
which
half.
the lightsaber cauterizes the skin, so there's no blood. So why not just take a few arms off and take a few? We did see a head come off, but
Off camera, though.
yes,
You just see it
off
rolling.
camera. It was a cool scene.
It was cool.
Yeah, it was a cool
It's
scene.
fine.
But
It was all right.
so yeah, that's my one gripe kind of there that Disney is probably responsible for. I will say when they do get to the top where they're fighting more like where the ruins are.
Right.
Where Sabine shoots the helmet and you start seeing the decapitated face,
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
decaying face,
The zombie face.
yeah, and the you hear the gurgling and the mouth chomping. That was really cool visually because I mean, who thought there'd be zombies in the Star Wars universe, right? Like that's just unheard of.
Yeah,
But it's a thing. It happens. It just did.
Right.
So,
different kind of zombies. They were like enchanted.
Yes,
But
yes.
yes, still cool. Yeah,
here's a gripe I have. You ready for this one?
totally.
So a couple episodes ago, Ezra makes a big deal about, nah, you keep the lightsaber. I'm going to use the Force, right? Well,
Yes.
So then he gets a lightsaber and decides never to use the Force in any of these battles that he's having in this episode. Makes zero sense.
He deals in absolutes.
Yeah, I guess so. Like he doesn't
Like
use
a
the
Sith.
Force until the very end when he has to get his lightsaber back.
Right.
But other than that, he doesn't use the Force at all.
Yeah, and like, did Sabine ever jump at the end, and then he was supposed to pull her up? I mean, they never showed it.
Right. Yeah. Well,
Apparently, she didn't.
no, she did not.
But or could he just not get her up there because he didn't use the Force?
Maybe.
Just
I don't
kidding.
know. Who knows?
No, that's right. I mean, also like, where the what are they called? Kyber crystals or
Yeah, kyber crystals. Yeah.
what? So he just makes a. I mean,
I would assume that Hu Yang has like a stash. Like they're on a
so?
they're on a Jedi ship. So I would
he's got
assume.
a stash though. Aren't
Probably,
those things really
yeah.
rare.
I mean, yes, but he was also in charge of the Jedi Temple. So
Yeah, I guess if there's anyone that's gonna judge if somebody can make a lightsaber, although he was even like,
Yeah,
"Don't touch my
skeptical.
stuff, bro.
Yeah.
I'm organized in here." He's like, "You mean disorganized?" But yeah, no, it was yeah. I mean, trying to think if I had any gripes. Oh, here's one. Enoch still hasn't done nothing
Yeah, that was a huge
except
gripe.
like,
Yeah.
take orders, give information.
Yeah.
Nothing.
at all. Which hopefully he has a grand battle in the next episode
I guess so.
of whenever that happens in season 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wanted more from him too.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah. Nothing from Enoch. Again, nothing with Shin and Balin.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Well, the
Thrawn still has eluded. Like, nobody has been in the same room as him since Sabine
correct.
in episode whatever,
Yeah.
like several episodes ago.
Mhm.
I mean, he's just so elusive.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to get to because he's always thinking. He's always one step ahead of everybody. That kind of thing.
So, do you think he's caught on to the fact that the witches are using him, and he's gonna?
I think
and
he's known about it.
He's got
from,
a contingency.
Yeah, he's got a way out. Yeah.
Yeah.
He does, and I mean, it's gonna be cool to see him kind of just pull the rug on them. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's got to be good. You really do. You can just tell just by the way he's been this season how calculated he is. Like he is going to execute something that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
So,
he's got to.
you mentioned Shin. We did see her briefly when she returns back to the bandit camp.
Yeah.
Weird. She just holds her lightsaber up, and they look at her, and then that's it. That's the end of her scene. Which,
What
I
did
don't
that
know-
mean to you?
What did it mean? I mean, it was her trying to find people to be around. I don't know. I think it was just. I don't know. The look on her face was like she was desperate. It was kind of I gathered from it, but
Yeah, I guess so.
yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know what to think of that.
yeah. But then that's sort of towards the end of the episode where I mean you mentioned that Sabine force pushed
Ezra
up
Yeah,
onto the
it
ship.
looked cool.
It was a cool scene.
Hey, bold move for someone who just used the Force for like the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude.
But I guess that was her coming into her own.
Which I liked her moment. I mean,
yeah.
it was so clear it was coming.
Yeah.
But it was
But
a good moment.
they do get away, and I honestly thought that they were going to catch up to the ship.
Me too.
He gave his little speech,
Yes.
and then I thought they were going to hide, like somehow manage to hide on the Chimera.
Yeah.
Kind of like they hid on the back of the garbage or how Boba in was it Empire? He hid on the back of the garbage, and then Mando he's hidden on the back of the craters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what I thought they were going to do, but
Right.
nope, they're left behind. They go
Yeah.
back to the settlement and they hang out with the Nodis and try to figure out a plan. And we see Force Anakin again, which was really cool to see.
Yeah.
Actually, but
It was, but explain like
why? Well, I mean, obviously because of Ahsoka. Like he was just being like,
right,
okay.
but like do they just show up whenever they want to? Like
I mean, if you notice,
Like your guardian angel?
Have you noticed as Sabine is walking up to Ahsoka, she's already kind of glancing out that way.
Yeah.
So I feel like Ahsoka was already having that moment, and then Sabine came and
Sabine's
they talked,
like,
and then
I
Sabine's
thought
like,
I heard something.
yeah, just shadows in the starlight, which was a great line, fantastic line. Sounds like a Taylor Swift lyric for sure. But then I think when Ahsoka looks back at him, it was kind of like, see, I am making progress with my Padawan because she was able to sense you, that kind of thing.
Yeah. I guess so.
Yeah, it was more like a proud moment, I think. But
Yeah, that's good.
we see Balin. I want to talk about this for a minute.
All right, tell me what's going on
Yeah.
here.
All right,
He's on
so
top of a mountain,
he's
on top of a statue.
Okay, so the statues that are there, all right, they are known as in the Star Wars universe as the Mortis gods. Okay.
Okay.
They're kind of like the overarching gods of the universe. right?
Star Wars universe.
Yeah. And he is on the Father's arm. That's what it's called, the Father.
Okay, yeah.
And next to him is the Son.
Okay.
All right. And if you notice to the other side, there was like rubble, debris, but there's also the daughter that's supposed to be there.
Okay.
And so this is deep in Star Wars lore.
So this is like the Star Wars Trinity. Kinda.
Kind of. So Ahsoka has a connection with the daughter.
Okay.
If you notice the bird that she was staring at, the
Yeah.
little owl thing, that's the same one that was in her appearance in The Mandalorian when
Okay.
Ahsoka was there with the.
Well, I noticed the bird. I don't remember it from.
Yeah,
Mandalorian, though.
the bird's name I believe is Morai or Mor. Yeah, but Morai is kind of the daughter incarnate or whatever.
Hold up. So this bird is in the Mandalorian
Yes,
on the planet wherever that
it's
was.
the way you can view this is that this bird is more like a spiritual bird. That
It's
kind
not
of
a
thing.
physical bird that
So,
just travels intergalactically.
I mean, it takes physical form, but I don't think it's.
But it's not primarily a
necessarily-
bird.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
And
I mean, I think it's helpful.
Yeah, so that's kind of like the connection there between the daughter and Ahsoka. There's a strong connection
So
there.
what's the like? What I don't understand the connection though. You say there's a connection, but I don't understand.
Well,
it.
just the fact that Morai is kind of the daughter incarnate, I should say. But
Okay.
and so the daughter was kind of involved in kind of Ahsoka and like her becoming who she is a little bit.
Okay. Great.
There's
Sounds cool.
there's a lot to dig into there, but obviously they're going to go into the Mortis God storyline at some point
Because Ahsoka's on that
yeah,
planet.
and so which is why Balin not dying, but the actor dying is going to be very interesting because the actor who comes in, I mean, there's
Lot to live up to
clearly a
there.
storyline there that was meant for Balin.
Yeah.
It's clearly there because, I mean, we now see that his motives were different than everybody else's, and it was to find a way to reach the gods or something along
Yeah,
those lines.
yeah.
Which, with him being in the gray and being like, okay, there's things that are good and evil, but there's a purpose for both. I mean, maybe he's trying to get in tune with the Mortis gods because he wants to make that a permanent thing where like it's okay to like live in the good and the evil, and there's no like judgment or damnation for evil or good, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So interesting. I mean,
I know.
I would have loved to,
Seen more of that.
well, also it's just a shame, like, because he's literally no longer with us.
Yeah, I know. It is. It's true.
That we didn't get any more lines.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? There's
Yeah.
no more. Like, you just got a shot of him on top of the mountain. He looks cool, but
Yeah.
although I guess like that's kind of a good way to go out, maybe too. But
Yeah.
yeah, clearly they're gonna have to recast it now. This
Yeah.
seems like a storyline like that they're gonna run with. Maybe that's how they get back. Like, if these gods help Ahsoka and Sabine get
Yeah.
back to the galaxy, that's probably what they'll do.
Maybe.
I shouldn't say probably.
Yeah.
I don't actually know.
Yeah. So the big speculation here is: will there be a season 2, or will the Dave Filoni Mandoverse movie be the thing that wraps it up? Because if you think about this,
Okay.
the Thrawn return event, tell me that is not something big enough to where Mandalorian and Ahsoka have to kind of work together to do it, and it only makes sense to do it in a big movie, big budget movie,
Okay.
directed by Dave Filoni.
Which that part.
Right.
I'm great
So-
with. Yeah.
Will we get an Ahsoka season 2, or will the Ahsoka storyline of Thrawn being he made it over there and them coming back be a part of Mandalorian and that storyline?
Are we gonna get another Mandalorian season?
I believe we're getting another Mandalorian season and then the movie.
The movie.
So,
okay. So maybe there won't be an Ahsoka 2 then.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
because they said the movie is supposed to wrap up the entire Mando universe saga.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is does Thrawn has beef with the Mandalorian too? The Mandalorians in the
Well,
Rebels?
he commits entire genocide of the Mandalore.
So he does the purge.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, great. Didn't know that part.
So
I probably heard that at some point, forgot it, and there's some fan out there who hates me now and already
It's okay.
just turned the podcast off. Yeah.
you're good, man. Don't worry
Which
about
we're gonna turn it off here.
We are, I
relatively
think-
soon.
yeah.
Yeah.
it. Reach that point.
Any other last thoughts?
I'm excited for. I mean,
Whatever's next.
whatever's next, man. I mean, I feel like Star Wars is they're in the kitchen and they're cooking, man, and it smells really good.
Tastes good,
Yeah.
man. Tasty. Yeah. Overall, very good series. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah. They just know how to do series.
I don't think
Marvel,
I was
take note.
left. Here's what I loved, that there was a legit ending that was like, didn't see that coming. Mm-hmm. You know, like I love that.
It wasn't predictable.
It wasn't predictable. Like I love that the irony of like Ezra and Thrawn are back, but everybody who went to get him, Morgan dead, Balin and Shin still there.
Yep.
And Ahsoka, Sabine, and Huyang. Literally everyone.
If you really think about it, the main
swapped.
storyline was to get Ezra home. The storyline was completed. Ezra went home.
Yeah.
They just didn't make it with him.
It's amazing.
I don't know how.
I not until this single moment have I thought about just how it was a clean swap.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was. You're right.
Literally not a single, outside of like some droids.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So, anyways, I love that the ending was, for me, not predictable.
Yeah.
And I love that they didn't give us a Thrawn, like someone confronted Thrawn yet. Like I love that there's still more there.
He's still elusive. You mentioned he's still kind of in the shadows. I mean, yes, Ezra makes it back to Hera in his stormtrooper armor, which, if you're going to leave the ship, take the helmet off first. Don't be all dramatic. Come on, dude.
True.
Yeah. Take the helmet off. You see from afar the helmet's off. You're not going to be as...
Did you like how Chopper knew it was him, though?
Oh, yeah. That was pretty sick.
Yeah.
That was pretty sick.
Yeah. I don't know how he knows that.
Well, at first, Chopper's like, whoa, what's going on here? Who's this? Like, and then he, like, wheels on over.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's like, hey, guys, you're never going to believe who this is. Like, that kind of thing. But I think it has to do with the way he touched him, like the way like he put his hand on him. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great.
But yeah, overall, man, great series. Well done, Dave Filoni. You are a Star Wars god.
Filoni is the man.
Yeah.
In Filoni we trust. All right, let's wrap it up. Again, big shout out to everyone who tuned in. Please subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen. Share the podcast with your friends. Follow us on social media at Royal Geek Pod. And come on back for everything else we got. We are also recording the season premiere of Season 2 of Loki tonight. So if you're listening to this and you haven't listened to our review of Loki, go watch Loki Season 2, Episode 1. Just dropped on Disney Plus, and check out our review. So that's coming up. And then, we've got a lot more stuff to cover in the weeks and months to come. With all that in mind, for my good friend Sandy and Shimada, who's not with us tonight, this is T-Roll saying thank you so much for listening to the Royal Geek Podcast. We will see you next time, you peasants.